everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk about what happens when we have an awareness but we don't have a solution. And this is something you're going to find when you start coming through after your awakening process and your ascension process, because there are two separate things. Now you can start your awakening process and that can take 2 to 3 years to 10 years to 15 years, whatever you sort of built into your human template in a sense, and then which goes and kind of is overlaid by your soul template, whatever you kind of built into that. So a lot of people say they had a spontaneous awakening, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It can happen where all of a sudden they just have this jarring awakening and then they move to ascension. But I think for majority of people, it happens over years at a time. If I go back and look at mine, I would say my awakening probably started in 2013 and it probably went to about 2015, and then after 2015, somewhere toward the end of 15, I probably went into my ascension process. So it's not normally an overnight thing. I'm not saying people can't have spontaneous awakenings, but for a majority of people, I think it takes time. So when you're sort of in that in between, and we call that in between the fourth dimension, we talk about the fourth dimension a lot on this channel because it's where a lot of the collectives are starting to lie, where you can see a lot of the smoke and mirrors of the third dimension. And by third dimension, we're just talking about the consciousness that creates that reality. The physical world is not the third dimension. The physical world is still a projection of the dimension in which your consciousness and body lies. It's not just the physical. You have a physical reality and you can have your body setting in the fifth dimension. It's just whatever it represents. So if your consciousness and your consciousness is always going to be higher than your body vibration, but if your body vibration is setting in the fifth dimension, what you're going to see projected is the fifth dimension. It's still not real, but it's still a prettier illusion than the third dimension. So the consciousness that shapes that dimension, the body consciousness, to me is where I always go back to, because to me my body has to be setting in the consciousness of what I'm looking at. So and that will change over time as far as what you're seeing. But there is a part of this process where we have an awareness but we don't have a solution, and we talk a lot about why do we walk away from realities. Everyone, we try to align stuff, right? We try to align shit that is not alignable. And we do it for a long time. And that's one reason we learn how not to do things. How we're doing things very, we're trying to align something, but it's not really aligned. And we can't really align it, and we don't know why. So we keep trying to put it together a different way because we don't really want to let it go. So for a lot of us, hearing the word alignment means I'm going to try to rig this another way because I don't want to leave it behind. And I notice a lot of times when I do videos about aligning a reality, those are some of the most popular videos because people want to try to align stuff that they know deep down is probably not soul aligned. But they want to keep it. So they know that it's not really making them happy. They know it's distorted. They know it's off the rails in a lot of directions, but I'm not ready to let it go yet. So let me see if I can align it again. But that is part of the process we go through, because if we don't try to align stuff and it doesn't work, and sometimes we can align things for a little while. I hate to always put it that it's not possible, because we can buy time in certain realities if it's highest aligned for us to buy time there. You can be renting from a landlord that it's not highest aligned, but you also know it's not time to leave yet. So you might have an awareness that I know this isn't highest aligned, but I can't see the solution yet. Once you see the solution, that's a whole different area of consciousness. But for a while, you're just going to have the awareness. You're just going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to see what do I do with it. So that's when a lot of times we'll walk away from stuff because we know it's not aligned, but we can't really, I don't have a solution to fix it yet. I don't have a solution to align it yet. I don't have a solution to know what's the best thing for me to do yet. Because our solutions in the beginning might still be a human solution. And that's where we try to keep aligning stuff to some type of human belief, some type of human judgment, some type of human construct that is not what our universe has in store for us. The path our human's going to want to take is not the path your universe is going to send you down once you get on your ascension path. I'll guarantee you that. It's not the same ones. And I always kind of explain it on this channel as, it's not the sexy reality you wanted. Because one thing about the human realities are they have a lot of glitz and sexiness to them. They have a lot of, they are like a cult mentality where they do try to suck you in. They promise you fame, money, love, whatever it is. But when you get in there and get in these realities, it doesn't quite work out that way. It's because they dangle a carrot, but it doesn't quite make you happy. It's not quite what you thought it would be. You hear that so many times. It's not what I thought it would be. Because we're imagining it in a higher consciousness, but then we're trying to enact that reality from our human consciousness template. So it's not what I thought it would be. Because we're not creating it from the place of purity. That's another reason why we don't get to know the solution. Sometimes we might have the awareness, we don't have the solution until we reach a certain level of purity with our consciousness. If not, we're going to corrupt it all again. You see a lot of that when people go down the Atlantis wormholes, or even Lemuria to a point, but more so Atlantis really, where we had all the power and all the consciousness, but none of the purity with it. We couldn't be trusted with what we could see. We couldn't be trusted with what we had the ability to tap into. You see a lot of that in the spiritual community, where you see a lot of people who are tapping into a lot of different consciousness, not embodying them yet, but tapping into them. And at some point, maybe they are embodying them. Most of the ones I see are just kind of tapping into the consciousness, because once you embody the consciousness, it really does change how you interact and your purity level you go from. So that's why you're not trusted with more. Because we have shown time and time again that in many different dimensions we have worked through and worked in, and all of our simultaneous dimensions we're in now, we can't be trusted unless we obtain a certain level of purity. That's why you can go the galactic route and embody in your galactic aspects, but at some point you have to go the soul route also and clear out all the stuff that is not pure, which is your human DNA pretty much. It's pretty much everything the human beliefs have showed us what to do and shown us how to be. It's a massive process, and you're seeing so many of the collectives now start to go through that process. You can see everything that goes on in the world. Every day it's something else, something new, something, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's, and I'm going to use the disaster as, how a human would explain it, whether it's this going on over here, or we have a shooting over here, and then we have financial markets collapsing over here, and it's just like every day. I actually heard someone explain it today, and it wasn't even a spiritual channel, it wasn't a consciousness channel, it wasn't any of that. It was just someone talking about how it's kind of like the fall of capitalism in a sense. A fall of kind of everything that's not working, because all of a sudden we can see what's not working. It's become so distorted to the vibration of the planet, to the vibration of a lot of the collectives now. Even though we might look at the collective and say, but everyone's still so unconscious, so living from their human consciousness still, but there's still an uptick from where they were. They can have an awareness of this is wrong, awareness of, wait, I'm being lied to, awareness of this is not just. You see that word a lot in the fourth dimension. This is not just. If you're saying this is not just, you are playing in the fourth dimension, because you're starting to, at least, we've explained it before, where on this channel, where it's, it's a conscious choice, but still from an unconscious place. It's an awareness, but we don't have a solution. We kind of know this is wrong, but we don't really know what to do about it. We haven't unlocked that yet. And when we start raising our consciousness, embodying in that consciousness to raise our body vibration, the whole point of that is to continue to unlock the solutions. We have to unlock, what can we do? What are we supposed to do with that? What can I do with this reality? Or is it one I can't save? Is this one that can't come with me? Or a majority of them won't come with you. Your universal path is not going to be the human path. And in the beginning, that is not what we want to hear. And that is not what we hear in the beginning, because we would be way too resistant. That's why people start out in the fifth dimension. When they start feeling that consciousness, they haven't embodied it yet. They haven't restructured their life. They haven't had to take that consciousness, bring it down, and rearrange their life to now align with that consciousness. That is what ascension is. That's what embodiment is. That's what raises the vibration of our body. We take our body out of these situations. We take our body out of certain places. We take our body out of certain relationships. Take our body out of certain jobs. We look at how we're making money. Is that aligned on a soul level? Is that no longer aligned on a soul level? Is it aligned for now, but you know it's not aligned long term? There's so many different iterations you're going to go through. There's so many different times when you're going to look and say, I have an awareness, but I don't know what to do. The awareness is a massive deal when we get to that point where you can see it. You know, because in third dimensional consciousness, we could not see that. We did not even have an awareness we were getting screwed over, in a sense. We didn't have an awareness we were picking a lot of these. We were following a plan we couldn't see that we'd agreed to. And I say that a lot, and I always want to preference that with when we were going through our roughest and toughest, and if you see someone going through that now, one thing they do not want to hear, one thing I didn't want to hear, and I'm sure a lot of, no one else wants to hear, is, oh, but you decided that. That was your choice on a soul level to go through this. When you're in that, you don't want to hear that. So even though I will say all of it's predestined, all of it's pre-planned, no matter how horrific it might feel to the human, how horrific it might feel to the collectives, yes, it is. That does not mean we don't have a compassion. Like, I'll have a compassion for someone going through it. I'm not going to say that to someone going through that, because that's not what they require from me at that moment. They require that angelic aspect. They require a higher self that's going to support them. Not one that's going to sit there and go, well, you chose all this. Even on a human perspective, they kept making the same decisions over and over again to end them in that place. Now, there is a twist to that if you see someone continuously doing the same thing, you continuously step into assist, but no one's working through their stuff. No one's going that next step. Then we have to kind of back up and usually back away from that, because we're now hampering them to wake up. We're hampering them because they don't want to make the tough choices. They don't want to have to really look at something, and now maybe they have a solution, but they don't like the solution. You'll see a lot of that. I used to do the same thing. Oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. I don't have the guidance. I don't have the direction. I have it. I just don't like it. I don't like the message I'm getting. I don't like what I'm hearing. I don't want to go that route. That's not the route I want to go. That's not the route my human wants to go. I want to go. I don't want to go that way. But that's the way you got to go, because in the non-linear fashion, that is the quickest way to get to your soul aligned reality you're trying to get to. It's not the most comfortable way for your human. You're gonna have to dig through a lot of your shit. You're gonna have to go inside and really see what's going on in there. It's not the pathway you want to go on. If your human had a say in that, it might feel like it's not the easy way, but it is the quickest way. It is the quickest way to get to what you want to go through, because all that stuff we're avoiding dealing with is the stuff that's in our way of anchoring in more of our soul, anchoring in higher dimensional realities, anchoring in aspects that will continue to raise the vibration of our body, so we can then have these higher dimensional realities materialize around us. It's not just thinking the thought. It goes beyond that. Now, that is the gateway. That is the fifth dimension, but that is just the beginning. We really don't even get boots in the ground until you get into the sixth dimension, seventh dimension, eighth dimension, where you start to really have to rearrange everything. It's not like I can rearrange this, but I'm going to keep this over here, but I just want to do this, We get into choice and decision. Our human's going to make a choice. Choice is a very weak word. It's a word that it flips and flops. I can make a choice today to do that, and then a choice tomorrow to not do that. Your human's going to make a choice. Your higher self, your higher aspects are going to make a decision. Your galactic aspects are going to make a decision. Okay? It's not going to make a choice. It's going to make a decision. And once you make a decision, then that's the end of it. We don't go back on our decisions, but we will waver on our choices. So look at what part of you is trying to align a reality. Look at what part of you is looking at it and saying, okay, what do I not like about the path I see? Where can I not see the solution? most of the time for me, I couldn't see the solution because I had too many emotions around the choice I was trying to make. You know, I wasn't even at the decision part yet. I was just trying to make a choice. I was still very much in my human aspect at that point. It's too much around it. And you're going to find you're going to ebb and flow through a lot of this stuff. One day you might feel like you're so empowered in your higher aspects and you can see what you're supposed to do. And then you get hit with something. And because we have something we have to clear, the higher our body goes, you know, we can have the most beautiful expansion. And then we have to shrink back down to then clear out everything that's not that consciousness in our body. So then we can bring that consciousness down. We go through a year of embodying the consciousness after we've gone through a year of just holding the consciousness. You know, we talk about 2 years, 3 years, 7-year cycles, even 9-year cycles, and there are even 12-year cycles. And if you go back in your life, you'll be able to kind of map those out and you can see the different cycles you were in. But to anchor in a new reality, to get my body to anchor in a new aspect, to get hold the consciousness and then being able to anchor it in, 2 years minimum. I've never done anything quicker than, really for me, I don't think I've done anything in 2 years. I've done a couple things in 9 months, but it wasn't those bigger template rewrites, the bigger things, you know, the bigger dimensional jumps. It was usually more like almost 3 years, 2 years, 8 months, 2 years, you know, right around. It wasn't even like a 2.5 years. It was usually a little bit over that. And I was doing it, what I thought at the time was everything I had with it, you know, really focusing on it, really trying to give it everything I had. So when we look back at what we've done before, which a lot of people will say, you know, and I want to throw this in too. When we look back, we're not looking back to repeat the same thing, but it is an awareness as to what we have done before, what we did that time, how we tried to align it that time, and why that didn't work. We can use it for awareness. We don't want to take it as that's how it's going to map out again, but that's not how it's going to play out again, because now we're in a different vibration. You can put yourself back in the situation you were in and have a completely different experience because your body is at a different vibration now. You're at a different vibration now. A different aspect of you is now at the table and it's not your human aspect anymore. So all of a sudden, we talk about how our surroundings mirror that. You know, our illusion, our matrix mirrors that. You're going to see everything forms around you a little bit different. You're getting different aspects of those people. You're getting different aspects of the space. The space might feel bigger. It might feel smaller because you're so much energetically bigger that all of a sudden what used to feel so big to you doesn't feel big anymore. You might get a flip of that where, it's not what I remembered it being. It's not, I don't have as much enjoyment here as I used to. I feel like I've kind of outgrown it. In our human sense, it took us a long time to outgrow things. You know, we would go take very, very small increments up the scale of raising our vibration, but technically we always were. We just had to go through the long physical reality. We had to trudge through the physical realities to do it because we didn't know another way. Look at where you have the awareness and no solution. Look at where a human's going to want to jump to the solution with no awareness. That's what the human's going to do. The human's going to, I'm going to solve this right now. But it has no higher consciousness awareness of what is really going on. So you really can't even get to the solution. It's going to try to do a human solution, and it doesn't even understand the energetics of why it's created the whole thing to begin with. So look where if you don't have the awareness, you don't have the solution. Okay? We have to have the awareness first. And don't be upset if the solution doesn't come. Don't be upset if the answer doesn't come right away. There might be a lot of stuff we have to clear out of our body to unlock the solution. So all of a sudden you will know, okay, now I know what I got to do. Or, okay, now it's time to do that. Now I can see what I need to do. A lot of things I will do months or sometimes years before it actually comes to pass. I kind of get ahead of it, you know. We no longer get stuck with our energetic panties down. We get ahead of it now, you know. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna need something for outside. I'm gonna go ahead and just get that now, and then I don't have the whole reality set up so when it comes in, I'm not running around trying to get everything done. Our human always tries to run around and get everything done at the last minute because it's more reactive. You know, there's no proactiveness to the human, and if it is proactive, it's going to go back to solution, no awareness. So look at kind of where you fall on that. Look at. You're going to find different parts of your life. You'll be more open to an awareness and the solution, and sometimes you might be open to the awareness, but not the solution. You might be in some places where you're totally unconscious to any awareness, and you're trying to rush into a solution because something's not right. That might be the only awareness you have. This isn't comfortable anymore. I don't feel like I want to be here anymore, but that's all I got. I don't have anything more than that. Always go inside to figure it out. And if you get stuck or you don't like the answer you get, which is normally one I would get, ask for a sign outside. Sometimes in the beginning when I was really had a lot of emotion around it and I felt like I was flip-flopping a lot when I would go inside because I had so much clouding it, I would ask for something external to clear it up for me. Ask for that external, what's going to jump out at me. Ask for the sign outside. Eventually, your universe is going to take that away. It's not going to allow you to do that anymore. It's going to say no more of that. You really got to trust what you're hearing inside. But for a while, it is a great guidance for us when we feel like we're roadblocked inside because we have too much we have to clear around it to know. And sometimes we'll get an answer and it makes us uncomfortable. We got to go there. Why does that make us uncomfortable? Why does that make us feel like I don't want to do it that way? I don't want to go that way. I don't have to do it that way. I don't like how that feels. How we feel about it is the most important thing. What we're clearing, the most important. It's not the thing. It's not the story we attach to the thing. None of that really matters. It's how we really feel about the thing. The thing is not the thing that matters. Our human wants to attach it to the thing, but it's not about the thing. It's about our connection, our awareness, what we see as a solution, and what we know. And that's usually the biggest, what we'll get to, what we know will not be accepted by the human reality if we go with that solution, and the judgment we'll have from that, because that is our judgment. We're still holding on to that some human belief. I heard someone say, what do you believe? And it's so true. If it's coming from a human consciousness, you can pretty much guarantee it's a lie. Because the whole human consciousness is a construct and a lie. And the more awareness we get, the more we start to say, oh yeah, that was not true either. Oh, and that's not true either. Oh, and that's why that really happens. That has nothing to do with that, So if we just kind of start there, it makes it a little bit easier for us to kind of peg through, okay, if I know that's not true, what do I feel is what I should do? What is my awareness here now? And what is the solution? But it's not going to be the human one. Those days are long over at this point. So, okay. Keep practicing the art of intuition.